Aloha, welcome to A Course in Miracles. We are doing the workbook. This is lesson 46. God is the love in which I forgive. Yesterday we talked about God is the mind with which I think. Before that we talked about God is the light in which I see. So we're talking about seeing, we're talking about light, we're talking about the mind of God and what we think. And today we're talking about love and forgiveness. Today's lesson says, God is the love in which I forgive. God does not forgive because he is never condemned. And there must be condemnation before forgiveness is necessary. That was an amazing thought to me the first time I ever read it, because I grew up feeling like I was always having to ask God to forgive me for this or that or the other, or the things that I was constantly doing. But God does not forgive because he is never condemned. You have to condemn someone before you can forgive them. This is amazing news. To me it was anyway. And there must be condemnation before forgiveness is necessary. Forgiveness is, though, the great need of this world. But that is because it is a world of illusions. We're back to that again. It's a world of illusions. Those who forgive are thus releasing themselves from illusions, while those who withhold forgiveness are binding themselves to them. As you condemn only yourself, so do you forgive only yourself. And so this is the key to salvation right here. The Course deals with forgiveness. And it's not the kind of forgiveness that you might be used to, where you forgive someone for something that actually happened because you're such a great person and you're just like bestowing forgiveness on them because you're so holy. Now this is a whole different kind of forgiveness. That forgiveness that I grew up and learned about really doesn't work because it makes the sin real and then tries to forgive it. And if it's real, it's impossible to really forgive it. This is kind of forgiveness, is forgiving illusions. It's amazing. It's you might not get it the first time, but you might. Here we go. So let's see what it says. First of all, let me read that sentence again. As you condemn only yourself, and so you forgive only yourself. And that's because we're one. And whatever, if you want to feel forgiven, the Course says, forgive others. Because whatever you do to others, you're always doing to yourself. Because we're one. We're a part of each other. Although God does not forgive, it says, his love is nevertheless the basis of forgiveness. Fear condemns and love forgives. I love that phrase. Fear condemns and love forgives. Forgiveness thus undoes what fear has produced, returning the mind to the awareness of God. For this reason, forgiveness can truly be called salvation. It is the means by which illusions disappear. So this is one of the key principles of A Course in Miracles, in being saved, being free, feeling forgiven, living your life without guilt, is learning how to forgive others, or to let the Holy Spirit teach you how to forgive. And that's what we're going to be learning. This is the first lesson here in forgiveness, but it won't be the last. Today's exercises require at least 3 full 5-minute practice periods and as many shorter ones as possible. Begin the longer practice periods by repeating today's idea to yourself. God is the love in which I forgive. Okay, as usual, close your eyes as you do so and spend a minute or two in searching your mind for those whom you have not forgiven. And it doesn't matter how much you've not forgiven them. You have forgiven them entirely or not at all. And that's another Course in Miracles sort of concept, is that there are no degrees in forgiveness. There are no degrees in love. There's no degrees in miracles. It's an all or nothing. So a lot of times, I used to think, well, I'm working on forgiving this person. Or I forgive them, but I won't forget, But little did I know, I had no understanding of forgiveness, and I really hadn't forgiven them at all. So I was still bound to the illusion. But now I'm learning how to be free, and it's amazing. It's amazing to be free and to learn how to practice forgiveness. So, if you are doing the exercises well, you should have no difficulty in finding a number of people you've not forgiven. It's a safe rule that anyone that you do not like is a suitable subject. Anybody comes to your mind that you don't like, that's a suitable person that you probably haven't forgiven. So, mention each person that comes to your mind by name and say, God is the love in which I forgive you. Bill, Bob, Susan, whoever comes to your mind, just mention their name. The purpose of the first phase of today's practice periods is to put you in a position to forgive yourself. After you have applied the idea to all who have come to mind, tell yourself, God is the love in which I forgive myself. God is the love in which I forgive myself. And the reason the Course tells us in the text that what we do is whenever we feel guilty about something, in order to get rid of that guilt, the ego says, project it onto someone else. So that's the way we get rid of guilt, is we project it onto other people. All the other people in our lives, or people we may see on television or read about in books or whatever. But we project it, or we think we project it outside of ourselves, and thus we've gotten rid of it. But the only problem is we still feel guilty, because that doesn't get rid of it. The only way to get rid of guilt is to forgive yourself. And the only way the Course is about to show us, by us practicing this, is by forgiving others. Because in forgiving others, we forgive ourselves of the very things that we project onto others. So projecting onto others has the tendency of making us feel like we're better than they are, or well, I wouldn't do that. But really, we're going to learn in the Course that the people around us, the people in our lives, the people we see, they're really not outside of us, and they are a mirror of what's in our own mind. So in forgiving them, we forgive ourselves. And it really works. So the purpose of the first phase of today's practice period is to put you in a position to forgive yourself. And after you've applied the idea to all those who come to mind, tell yourself, God is the love in which I forgive myself. Then devote the remainder of the practice period to adding related ideas such as God is the love with which I love myself. A lot of people don't feel love for themselves because they feel so guilty. They don't feel like they're worthy. But God is the love in which I am blessed. And different kinds of thoughts like that. Just tell yourself those things in the second part. The form of the application may vary considerably, but the central idea should be to not be lost sight of. You might say, for example, I cannot be guilty because I am a son of God. I've already been forgiven. No fear is possible in a mind beloved of God. There is no need to attack because love has forgiven me. And unforgiveness, as we'll see later, is the source of attack, thoughts, and an actual attack. So we've started on this concept of forgiveness, and we will continue on this concept of learning how to forgive. The practice period should end, however, with a repetition of today's idea as originally stated. God is the love in which I forgive. And the shorter practice periods that we have in between throughout the day may consist either of a repetition of the idea for today in the original or in a related form, as however you prefer. Be sure, however, to make more specific applications if they are needed. They will be needed at any time during the day when you become aware of any kind of negative reaction to anyone present or not. In the event, tell them silently, God is the love in which I forgive you. So even if they just come to mind, they're not even present, but they sort of bring up an irritation or kind of a negative reaction when you think about them. Throughout the day, just stop and say, God is the love in which I forgive you. So this is going to be, I think, a wonderful day for you and me, because I know, having done the course before, that often it is very amazing the way you feel when you start to truly forgive. And the course is going to teach us more and more what that means to truly forgive. But that comes later. So have a great day. Love to you. Aloha. Thank you for spending time with me, and I will see you tomorrow.